Peace be with you. Great to have you joining us here today again. We're continuing to look at the Psalms as we move through the summer. And this week, we're going to talk about one of the Psalms that helps us remember that because these prayers, these poems, these songs have been favorites of people of faith for so many hundreds and thousands of years, that they start to show up in artwork as well. The psalm today talks about how God shows us the way to live, and I'll talk about a little bit more about that in a minute. But the verse itself that we're focusing in on is, "Your word is like a light for my feet." And I just want you to think for a moment, can you think of somewhere here at St. James where you might have seen those words? Well, if you haven't guessed, I'm actually going to show you a picture of it when we get closer to the end, okay? Because these Psalms are so wonderful in terms of teaching us about God and about how we're supposed to live, that they oftentimes show up in artwork, parts of them, like our verse from today. So what does our verse from today mean? Well, if it was really dark, I couldn't see where to go, so I need a light to guide me. Now, in the olden days, I'm just going to step out of shot here for a second, what they would do is they would get something like this candle, and they'd light a candle, and they'd have something a little more fancy than this, and that would light up enough for them to be able to see where to go and to walk. Now, of course, we don't usually use candles because we've got things like, let me just put this back, we've got flashlights and electric lanterns, and they light up the area. And if you've ever been camping or ever had a time when the power went out and it was dark, you know how important it is to be able to see where you're going and to see the light. So that's what the verse says, but what does it mean? Well, when it's talking about the Word, it's talking about the Bible. The words that God has given us through the prophets and through Jesus and through the Psalms and through all of the wonderful things that are found here. But of course, does that mean that if it was dark in here, I could just open the Bible and shine it on the floor and be able to see where I'm going? Well, no, of course not. What it means is that when we read these words, they tell us how we're supposed to live, and they help us make the right decisions and to be the people that Jesus wants us to be. These words act like a light to show us where to go and the way we're supposed to follow. And of course, when we talk about way, we're not just talking about a route or a path, we're talking about the life that we're called to live. Because the words remind us who God is and how God calls us to live. And the Word helps us find our way when we don't know where to go, but it also helps us find the way to be the best people that we can be. Now, did you remember where that lamp is? Oh, I said something. The lamp is, and the words? Well, in a minute, you'll get to actually see a picture of it, and you might remember where it is too. And if not, the next time when we're able to gather together at St. James, you have a look for that beautiful lamp and those words that remind us of the important thing from this psalm. As always, there are the activities below. I would invite you to work away on the mobile. We're on our third part on the mobile. If you haven't started it, that's okay. There's instructions on how to start, and for the other pieces, you can go back and look at the other videos, and there's certainly instructions on how to build the other pieces as we're learning more about who God is and how God calls us to live. Now, before we get to that, and before I show you the picture, why don't we join our hearts together and pray as Jesus taught. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Well, you have a great week, and I hope to see you next week. And just before we get to that final screen that says stay well and have a good week, here's a picture of that window. God bless.